Bill Gates é uma figura icônica da indústria de tecnologia e um dos empreendedores mais influentes do século XX e início do século XXI. Nascido em 28 de outubro de 1955, em Seattle, Washington, Gates mostrou interesse pela programação de computadores desde jovem. Sua jornada para se tornar um dos homens mais ricos do mundo começou em uma idade precoce. Aos 13 anos, Gates frequentou uma escola privada onde foi apresentado ao mundo da computação. Ele teve a oportunidade de usar um terminal de computador no centro de computação da Universidade de Washington e rapidamente desenvolveu habilidades em programação. Naquela época, os computadores eram grandes e caros, mas Gates encontrou uma maneira de acessá-los e aprimorar suas habilidades. Em 1973, Gates ingressou na Universidade Harvard, onde se tornou um estudante dedicado de ciência da computação. Durante seu tempo lá, ele conheceu Paul Allen, um colega entusiasta da computação. Juntos, eles começaram a desenvolver softwares e projetos, incluindo uma versão inicial da linguagem de programação BASIC para o primeiro computador pessoal, o Altair 8800. Em 1975, Gates e Allen fundaram a Microsoft. No início, a empresa se concentrava no desenvolvimento de software para computadores pessoais. Sua grande oportunidade surgiu em 1980, quando a IBM, líder na fabricação de computadores, procurou a Microsoft para fornecer o sistema operacional para seu novo PC. A Microsoft adquiriu o sistema operacional de outro fabricante e o aprimorou como MS-DOS, Microsoft Disk Operating System, lançando-o como parte do acordo com a IBM. O MS-DOS se tornou um sucesso e estabeleceu a Microsoft como uma empresa líder no setor de software. No entanto, o verdadeiro avanço ocorreu em 1985, quando a Microsoft lançou o sistema operacional Windows, uma interface gráfica do usuário que facilitava o uso de computadores. O Windows se tornou amplamente adotado e transformou a Microsoft em uma das empresas mais poderosas do setor de tecnologia.
Hello, I'm Bill Gates, Chairman of Microsoft. In this video, you're going to see the future, Windows. Microsoft first came up with the Windows concept back in 1983. And today, the leading software users have switched into the Windows environment. It's really incredible how quickly our powerful applications like Word and Excel and PowerPoint have been adopted. It's not just Microsoft applications. Even companies like WordPerfect and Lotus have now come out with Windows applications. And every week we see new innovative work. It's really attracting all the innovation in the industry. We predicted this a long time ago, and now it's the future. Let's take a look.
Durante as décadas seguintes, Gates liderou a Microsoft como CEO e guiou a empresa em várias direções. Sob sua liderança, a Microsoft lançou uma série de produtos bem-sucedidos, incluindo o pacote de produtividade Microsoft Office e o sistema operacional Windows XP. Gates também desempenhou um papel fundamental na promoção da ideia de computadores pessoais em todos os lares e escolas, acreditando que a tecnologia poderia transformar a maneira como vivemos e trabalhamos. Em 2000, Gates deixou o cargo de CEO da Microsoft, mas permaneceu como presidente e diretor de tecnologia. Ele concentrou seus esforços em atividades filantrópicas através da Fundação Bill e Melinda Gates, que ele e sua esposa Melinda Gates fundaram em 2000. A fundação tem como objetivo melhorar a saúde global e reduzir a pobreza, investindo em áreas como saúde, educação e desenvolvimento sustentável. Em maio de 2021, Bill e Melinda Gates anunciaram seu divórcio após 27 anos de casamento, mas afirmaram que continuarão a trabalhar juntos na Fundação Gates. A fundação se tornou uma das maiores organizações filantrópicas do mundo, buscando soluções inovadoras para problemas globais e fornecendo apoio financeiro para iniciativas em todo o mundo. Bill Gates continua sendo uma figura influente e ativa no mundo da tecnologia e filantropia. Sua visão, habilidades empreendedoras e dedicação à melhoria do mundo o tornaram uma figura emblemática na história da tecnologia e no campo da filantropia.
When I started Microsoft, I didn't think of it as all that risky. I mean, I was so excited about what we were doing. It's true I could have gone bankrupt, but you know, I had a set of skills that were highly employable, and in fact, my parents were still willing to let me go back to Harvard and finish my education if I wanted to. And so then I got this incredibly conservative approach that I wanted to have enough money in the bank to pay a year's worth of payroll, even if we didn't get any payments coming in.
One of my biggest memories of Harvard came in January 1975 when I made a call from a courier house to a company in Albuquerque, New Mexico that had begun making the world's first personal computer. I offered to sell them software. I worried they would realize I was just a student in a dorm and hang up on me. Instead, they said, "We're not quite ready. Come see us in a month," which was a good thing because we hadn't written the software yet. From that moment, I worked day and night on the extra credit project that marked the end of my college education and the beginning of a remarkable journey with Microsoft.
If you're going to start a company, it takes so much energy that it better overcome your feeling of risk. I don't think that you necessarily, if you're going to start a company, you should do it at the start of your career. I think there's a lot to be said for working for a company, learning how they do things. When people are first skeptical and they think, "Oh, this kid doesn't know anything," then when you show them you've really got a good product and you know something, they actually tend to go overboard and they think, "Whoa, they know a lot. Let's really do an incredible amount with these people." So our youth, at least in this country, was a huge asset for us once we reached a certain threshold. Those problems that come with starting the firm, you better think of those as part of the pleasure, part of the challenge that is part of the excitement. You can't just keep doing the same old thing you were doing before. You have to take your skills and attack new frontiers. In the business of technology, you have to think about what are you missing, what is the research or customer feedback that you should be paying more attention to, and how do you keep that pace of innovation very, very high? How do you make sure you're hiring the very best people? And that kind of focus has helped drive us forward through all the milestones the company has had. You've got to enjoy what you do every day. And for me, that's working with very smart people. It's working on new problems. Every time we think, hey, we've had a little bit of success, we're pretty careful not to dwell on it too much because the bar gets raised. People's expectations of the products, we've always got customer feedback telling us that machines are too complicated, they're not natural enough. About 25% of the time that I'm out traveling around meeting with customers, Europe, Asia, and that sort of helps me think, okay, do we have the right priorities? What are people responding well to, and what would they like to see us do better? The competition, the breakthroughs, the research, but the computer industry, in particular software, I think is the most exciting, and I think I have the best job in that business. You all have a chance to innovate. If you're thinking about your innovation, of course, you should go after any market that you think is interested in, but a little bit you can also think, okay, does this innovation apply to those most in need? What are you going to do to make it cheap enough, simple enough, figure out how to get it so it really, if possible, can extend out to the poorest. I wish I had learned more about that at a young age, and so you have an opportunity to do that. You find an idea that requires 3 or 4 years of improvement and patience and really sticking with it, that we're very good at that. Take Windows, which we bet our company on. Everybody doubted that would succeed. IBM did not support us in that. It took longer than we expected, over 4 years before finally graphical interface got popular, and now people take it for granted. It's part of every personal computer, and you just expect it to be there. That was one of the grand successes of the company. In the same way, we're betting on the internet, that our tools there will be popular, and that a few of these content plays that we've decided to get involved in, that the scale and the users will make those into great businesses. My calendar gets very full with those, and then at night, after the kids have gone to bed, I'm on email a great deal. I get messages during the day. That's my chance to give long responses. And then over the weekend, I send a lot of mail as well. I take 2 weeks a year to just go off and read and think, where I'm not interrupted by work or anything else. I'm just solidly trying to think about the future, and people get to send me things to read as part of that so-called Think Week. So it's a nice mix of things. About 25% of the time that I'm out traveling around, meeting with customers, Europe, Asia, and that sort of helps me think, okay, do we have the right priorities? What are people responding well to, and what would they like to see us do better? Sense of design, that everything had to fit a certain aesthetic. The fact that he, with this little engineering background as he had, it shows that design can lead you in a good direction, and so phenomenal products came out of it. He knew about brand, I mean, in very positive sense. He understood, he had an intuitive sense for marketing that was amazing. You can't just keep doing the same old thing you were doing before. You have to take your skills and attack the new frontiers. For example, graphical interface used to be outside the operating system, and so there were many people doing those systems. Windows came out ahead there, and now it comes with the operating system. Likewise, the browser is something that Netscape looked at, turning the browser into an operating system, and we looked at taking our operating system and building the browser in an integrated fashion. And so that was a good example of the kind of competition that spurs this business.
Hello, I'm Bill Gates, Chairman of Microsoft. In this video, you're going to see the future, Windows. Microsoft first came up with the Windows concept back in 1983. And today, the leading software users have switched into the Windows environment. It's really incredible how quickly our powerful applications like Word and Excel and PowerPoint have been adopted. It's not just Microsoft applications. Even companies like WordPerfect and Lotus have now come out with Windows applications. And every week we see new innovative work. It's really attracting all the innovation in the industry. We predicted this a long time ago, and now it's the future.
You've got to enjoy what you do every day. And for me, that's working with very smart people. It's working on new problems. Every time we think, hey, we've had a little bit of success, we're pretty careful not to dwell on it. We wake every day knowing that in the business of technology, you have to think about, what are you missing? What is the research or customer feedback that you should be paying more attention to? And how do you keep that pace of innovation very, very high? How do you make sure you're hiring the very best people? And that kind of focus has helped drive us forward through all the milestones the company has had. Certainly the internet is a great example of that. In a typical year, the world emits over 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases. And as we keep doing that, the consequences for human life will be catastrophic. When I first fell in love with computers as a teenager, they were enormous, expensive, and only the government and big companies could afford them. But my friends and I became obsessed with a wild idea. What could we do if there was a computer on every desk? And now the wild idea is quite tame. Billions of people not only have computers on their desks, but even in their pockets. Now the world needs another breakthrough. In fact, it needs many breakthroughs. We need to get from 51 billion tons to 0 while still meeting the planet's basic needs.
That means we need to transform the way we do almost everything. Our commitment to developing these innovations will mean the difference between a future where everyone can live a healthy, productive life and one where we're constantly dealing with the human and financial crises at a historic scale. Entrepreneurs and investors have to build new businesses and change existing businesses to get these solutions deployed. Government leaders have to enact new policies that drive the market for clean energy. And advocates have to keep their voices loud to hold all of us accountable for rapid progress. Avoiding a climate disaster will be one of the greatest challenges humans have ever taken on. Greater than landing on the moon, greater than eradicating smallpox, even greater than putting a computer on every desk. My basic optimism about climate change comes from my belief in innovation. It's our power to invent that makes me hopeful.